and welcome back to my channel. My name is David and this is my closet. Today's video is going to be one that no one has asked for, but I'm very excited to show. And it's a updated closet bag room tour. I did a lot of changes and have made a lot of changes in here since I first revealed this space. And I just checked, it was 11 months ago. So about a year ago, I made some changes. And as I was doing the most recent change, which you can clearly see behind me if you're new here, or if you're not new here, you'll see the shelf behind me is different. And I was kind of thinking of how much money I've spent on this room, and I love it. It blows my mind how little I have actually spent creating this space. So I'm going to go through the whole room, show you kind of what's changed since the last time you were here, and also just overall what I have here and what I've spent. There are a few things I'll include in a price, but I'll put like a little asterisk or something because I don't think they should be included in the price of the room because they're items or things that I would purchase for a space no matter what. And I'll get into that as we go through here. But I'm really excited to show you. It's almost perfect. So I do want to preface with the lighting is probably not going to be super duper great. I may get my ring light out and try to light some things up, but I want you to see the space as it is now and not, what it is when I'm filming, so to speak, because it's only that way when I'm filming. Otherwise, all the equipment is put away. So let's get to it. So just like last time, I'm going to film at a 1.5 view, and I'm just going to kind of scan over some things a little faster than others, but I do think it's important to share my space and to show you how you can have a space like this and not spend a fortune. So here is the door to the room. And as you can see, I still have some of these pictures that were here previously. And on the door, I have a Gucci tote bag, my Dooney and Burke, and then just a scarf that looks Burberry, but it's not. It's just a scarf I found on Amazon. So if we scan out here, this is where a lot of change has happened. And the first thing we will see is the new bag of the week stand. And I'm trying not to jiggle too much. So it's just this little stand. I found it at a garage sale for $5. It's not in great shape. It's a little wonky, but for $5, I thought it was absolutely perfect for what I needed. So I have my 2 vintage Coach bags, and then my Coach Rogue and my Cassie. So this will hold 4 bags, plus one on the top, which is my bag of the week. And for $5, I couldn't pass it up. And then next to it here is the little bin where I put the stuffing and stuff from the bag of the week. That way I don't lose it and I know exactly where it's at. This little metal rack and door situation. I have just command hooks at the top of the doors where I'll hang bags if I need to shape the straps or whatever, if I just want to hang something there to look at it. The next section is this metal rack. And I will say, this is not something that I was super thrilled with because I don't love things on over doors. They damage the door frames, which is why I have so much stuffing and paper and stuff up there to try to protect the door and the door jamb. But I really did want some extra space here to store some of my smaller bags that just don't really fit too terribly well on my big storage area, as well as some hanging space for my Longchamp bags. Now you'll see here that every bag is sitting on cardboard. It's because it's just these metal racks here, and that will leave dents and indentations on my handbags. So I do like to cover it with cardboard. It's not pretty, but it's not super noticeable, and it's functional, and it makes sense. This, I do believe I paid $30 or $35 for on Amazon. It's not something I intend to keep here forever, as I really am not a huge fan of the way it looks. I don't love the functionality, and it just doesn't work for me. Now, if you have doors maybe that you don't care as much about, or if you have, doors with larger gaps on the top, maybe this would work great for you. But for me, it's just not the best functionality right now. I'm not getting rid of it for the time being, but eventually it may go. I will also try to remember to link this below because I'm not saying it's bad. It just, for my situation and my space, it's not the best solution, but it's also not bad. You can also hang it on the wall, which I've thought about hanging it there, But in order to do that, you actually have to dismantle the top section where the over door hook is, because that obviously can't hang on the wall. So your shelf would start here and go down, so you would lose one shelf worth of space. They also are adjustables, but these are pretty close together, and as you can tell, these bags are not huge, so I don't know if you could cram that top shelf in, losing, you know, a foot worth of rack room. Down here is some gifts that I have for birthdays and showers coming up, and then my work bag. So we will just pretend that we don't see that. Over here, you will see a few differences from the last time we were here. I used to have a chest drawer here, and I have now moved that to inside the closet, and it's where I store some of my holiday decor for this room. I'm not going to go in there. Right now, the closet is just a bunch of stuff, and it's a mess. Basically, it's the dresser drawers full of my decor for this room. And then on the top shelf, it's just the boxes from my handbags. So here we have my desk area. Yeah, there are 2 lamps, and I'll get into that in a second. But here is just a print of Audrey Hepburn. I love Audrey Hepburn. I love her influence on fashion. As we all know, she is the reason we have the Speedy from Louis Vuitton. And I just love, love, love her. So this actually was a print that was in my powder room at my last house, and then the powder room at this house until recently when I redid that room and I moved it up here. So this was free because I already had it. The desk and the chair, of course, I already had as well. They were just in storage and or destined for the garage sale or donation, so I used it here. It doesn't really match. It's not super aesthetic, but it works perfect. It's the perfect size desk, and since I don't use it too terribly often, it's perfect. I mean, I can't say that enough. This lamp I've already had. The lamp over here I bought because it actually fits on the shelves over here, and I like that for when I want to move my display around and kind of change it up. I do have a lamp to play with, but when it's not being used there, I think it's cute here and it adds more light. I absolutely despise overhead lighting. So this is just where my laptop sits. This desk mat I picked up for $1 at a garage sale. Someone had some stock from Amazon they were selling, and I should have bought more because I really like it. So here is my pull-out drawer. This is where the keyboard would go on this desk. As you can see, I just kind of use it as a junk drawer, so it's where all of the items that I may need, and this is both real estate items and handbag related items that are just kind of all stored here out of the way, but where I can access them and see them. I wish this desk had a true drawer. That's the only thing I don't love about it, but it was essentially free since we've had it forever. My husband owned it long before he met me, so I can't justify buying a new one right now, so that's what we're dealing with. Of course, the rug is the same rug that was here before, and that was right at about $100, and it still works great for exactly what I wanted. I just wanted something super squishy and soft and something to protect the carpet when I am hanging out in here. So of course, this is the display. This shelf is from IKEA long time ago. It's probably 15, 20 years old at this point, if not older. And of course, you can see it in the video, so we're not going to go into it too much. And then at the bottom, not a lot has changed. My small leather goods. I did add a few more bins, as you can see on the outside edge on each side. Those bins are my favorite. I love bins that have holes in them just to create some airflow to keep things from getting stale. And then the 2 prints you see, the Tiffany & Company and the Christian Louboutin, those were in my formal dining room, and I kind of changed the aesthetic in there, and I pulled them down. And I do want to hang them up in here. I'm just not quite sure where yet. So for now, they just hang out in front of those bins to hide the ugly bins, frankly, and just to get them out of the way until I know exactly where I want to put them. So if you turn around, you'll see me in that mirror, and you will see this area. So this little stand here, I absolutely adore. We purchased this when we first moved into this house. I originally bought it for my entryway, and it didn't really fit the way I wanted. I picked it up at a garage sale for about $10. So I wasn't too upset, and it had been just living in one of our guest rooms as a TV stand for a couple of years. Well, as if you remember, there was a long dresser here before. That dresser had to go somewhere, and it went into that guest room, and then this came in here. Now, I do love this. I have dreamt about refinishing it since I bought it, and I have never done so, so that's probably not going to happen. Luckily, it's a very close white to the trim in my house, so it does work well. It's a little beat up, but for this purpose, it's absolutely wonderful. And it allows me to have some storage underneath, so I have a trash can, some display items that I use for my display behind me when I'm filming, so some shelves and risers. There's some candles, and then my bag stands are also stored over there. So it's just a nice way to get things like that out of the way, but they're accessible to me and I can see them and I don't forget I have them. Now, up top here, you will see a few things. Of course, you've seen my vase before, picked up at a garage sale or a thrift store actually. Dollar Tree or Walmart dollar flowers. Not really factoring that into the cost of the room. I would have bought it anyway because it's very beautiful. The mirror I picked up for about $5 at Walmart. I wanted to hang it, but I actually like the way it looks kind of propped up and leaning. And then this lamp actually was from my formal dining room. I replaced it recently. So something you'll see here is this dehumidifier. And I'll turn it on for you. And I will link this below as well because this thing actually does a wonderful job. If you see the water, and it has LED lights, it changes. Now I'm going to turn it back off just for the video. During the spring and summer months in the Midwest, it gets very humid, so I do like to have this in here just to help with any extra humidity that may be in this room. This room is not a room that gets super good airflow from our air conditioning, so I definitely like to have anything in here just to help prevent any potential issue. As I said before in other videos, never had an issue in this house with moisture or anything crazy, but trying to prevent things, and for $39 or $40, I think is what I paid for it, it really does the job. As you can see, there's about an inch of water in it right now, and I've been using it for about a month, so it definitely helps, and is not a permanent fixture, like I said, only this time of year. In the fall and winter, it's not necessary where we live, so it will go away into storage during that time, but it will be back out again next spring and summer. Next, we have this shelf, which I know you've also seen before. This is just from IKEA. I believe this was $120, and I assembled it myself. I purchased this around Christmas time, maybe around Thanksgiving, and right now it's kind of a mess in the drawers. It has two fabulous, very generous drawers, but I just kind of have them shoved full of risers, shelf stands, and then the bottom one is a true junk drawer with cords, with, you know, just things that I don't really know what to do with and I'm not quite ready to get rid of. So it's kind of my junk drawers. I do need to utilize them better. Someday I will, but for now, they're perfect because it hides all the junk. You can't see it and it doesn't bother me. I do like to display bags on here, but of course someday, if needed, this could also be another bulk storage area because these shelves do have the potential to hold quite a few bags. Right now I have what I call my Winnie BLV Shrunk the Kids display. As you know, my friend Winnie here on YouTube loves mini bags. So anytime I display or use mini bags, I think of her. So I named it after her. Then up here I just have a little kitty decor. And then this is a little trick that I love and I've wanted to share. This is just a towel stand for hand towels in a bathroom. I purchased this at a garage sale for $2 or $3 for one of our guest baths, but I didn't like it because it wasn't tall enough for my hand towels and it just kept falling over, and I was going to donate it to a thrift store, and it dawned on me one day that maybe this would be a good place to hang ribbons, bandeaus, all of those things. So I put it up here, and now that's exactly what it's used for, and it's absolutely perfect. So if you can get your hands on one of these and you have a lot of scarves or bandeaus, this may be a good option for you. The next area here is by the window, and first I will start with the window itself. As you can see, I put blackout curtains up, and I did this very inexpensively. I wanted it to be nice and tight to the windows. If you recall, when we purchased this home, I believe I told you this last time, if not you saw it, we had plantation style shutters installed in our home, and I absolutely love interior shutters. I think they're gorgeous, but there's still light cracks in them because they're not perfectly sealed. So there were still streams of light that would come in the room occasionally, depending on the time of day. And the way this house is positioned, the sun sets right here, so it gets a lot of sunlight. So sometimes beams of lights would shine through and just hit things, and it made me nervous, especially on the other side of the room where the bag of the week would always sit. It would get beamed right with light. So I did purchase these, and I got all of this stuff at Walmart. So the curtains, I believe, were $15 for the panels. And then, if you can see up there, it's just a very simple rod bracket system. It's the cheapest one you can buy, and I'll try to insert a picture or maybe even link it below. But it was literally $3, and it's just a black rod that basically curves around on each side and then clips into a bracket that you screw and anchor into the wall. And it's perfect. The only place you'll ever see a little bit of light come through occasionally is up the top. You may see a little bit shining up, and maybe at the seam, you may see it come through. Now, I do have the seam intentionally overlapped on the left-hand side, so if any light does come through, it's only going to shine here on this little area, and nothing here is going to get damaged, or even if this gets faded, I don't care. It's not going to happen because it's not direct light, but I try to avoid the natural light in here. So this never gets opened. It never gets touched. I was going to do a beige color, blackout heavy duty, heat blocking panels that I wanted. They came in only like 3 colors, red, blue, and then a beige color. And the beige color was so close to the walls, I was afraid it would blend too much. So I did go with the navy. I maybe should have gone with the beige because then it would just look like wall and it wouldn't be quite as dark. But I do like the contrast of the navy blue, and navy blue is one of my favorite colors, so I'm okay with it. But that was also very inexpensive, guys, under $20, and I got blackout curtains that protect my bags. And even if you don't have plantation shutters, you just have blinds, even if you don't have blinds, this is a great solution because it's really going to minimize the amount of light that comes in. I would say of the light that was coming in, this eliminated 90% of it, 95% of it. So great, great, great solution, and can be done very affordably. Over here, of course, you've seen all of these things before. I had that for a long time. It's just a little hat case. My lights get stored here in the corner. They're very inexpensive and on the cheaper end. There's a little bin down there just for some miscellaneous SLGs, mini bags, some those little pipe things. This is also another tip, and I'm going to do a video on bag storage, but these work great for shaping handles, so that's why I have some of these. And then, of course, my nightstand, same thing as last time, some lamps, a moisture eliminator just in case, some of my other bags there on the shelf, and of course some just decorations that I use on the shelves behind me down below. The last thing you'll see here is this rack shelf system. This thing is absolutely wonderful and I love it. So I originally was going to buy one on Amazon that was the same height. And I guess I'll tell you what this is first. So this is 72 inches tall, 60 inches long, and the shelves are 18 inches deep. I had found a set on Amazon that was 70 inches tall, 35 inches long, and I believe 15 inches deep. So it would take about 2 of them to replace what I had before. And it would be a little longer than these and a little bit taller. Or not as tall, but a little bit longer. I'm sorry. But they basically would mirror what I had before, but they would be taller. If you recall before, and I'll try to insert a picture, I just had metal racks. And I never liked them, though they are a great solution if you're limited on space and you don't want to spend a ton of money because those racks are very inexpensive. But you do need to be careful because they have metal racks in them. And they can dent bags, they can cause, permanent dents on bags. So I used to have, if you recall, dust bags, cardboard, plastic liners, all sorts of things trying to make a flat surface for my handbags. And it just looked a little bit unclean and I didn't like it. It was a little messy looking, so I've always wanted to replace them. And I was originally going to buy, like I said, on Amazon, a set of these that was basically the same size as those, except a little taller, and put them side by side. But the reviews on Amazon were horrible, and it showed that the metal it was made out of was super flimsy. People said it fell over and collapsed, even with lightweight items, which obviously this is not heavy duty, so you know, handbags, the weight of my handbags does not require a heavy duty shelf. So that was fine, but there were just a couple red flags and the comments were not great and the reviews were horrible. So I did decide to go to an actual store and look. And I went to Menards. If you have those around you, it's a really fun store. You can also probably find the same thing at Lowe's, Home Depot, and honestly, maybe even Walmart. But I wanted something that wasn't massive, but something that was also big enough to work for me. I wanted something deeper and taller than what I had before. This being 60 inches is about 10 inches shorter. Let's just say a foot to make it easy. This is about a foot shorter than what I had before, but this can hold an additional about 20 bags, I would assume, just because of the height and the depth. And the fact that you can utilize the full shelf because they are solid. Unlike my last one where you had all the metal racks, so you really had to be careful where you were placing. This is just smooth particle board, and you can really utilize all of this. The only thing I don't like about this is when you assemble and you combine the top and bottom, here you go, you lose a lot of adjustment. You lose about probably 6 to 8 inches of adjustment space. So I do have a shelf that's pretty thin, but it actually worked out because it's perfect for my speedies and all the shorter bags. And as you can see, there's a lot of room right now. I don't store all of my bags at the same time on here because I do use my display here and my display here. But technically this could fit all of my bags and still have a shelf available, a complete empty shelf. And that's also not spacing them very well. I can condense these down, push them together a little bit more, and re-angle them so I can fit more. So here's just kind of a view from the side, just so you can kind of see. It really fits everything well. Even my longest bag on its side is my Gucci, and it fits perfectly with probably a combined inch on both sides. It probably totals an inch of extra space. So I absolutely love that. And it also utilizes the height of my ceilings because I have these vaulted ceilings. So lots and lots of room to grow here and just super, super affordable. So this actually retailed for $169.99, so $170 for the shelf. And Menards always does rebates instead of sales, so there's an 11% rebate. So roughly this will cost me about $150 probably after everything's said and done. So I did have to find some white marine vinyl to cover the shelves just to eliminate the odor of the particle board. This is marine vinyl, so it can be purchased at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, any craft store, and it was one of the few materials I found that did not have an unpleasant odor that I didn't want to introduce to my bags. And I will also link this below. Now it does come in other sizes, and that's something I absolutely love. Now it was a little difficult to put together. In theory, it's not hard at all. You just literally put these little pieces in here and slide them down, and they're supposed to be super easy. Now, the problem is some of these may be a little bit bent from shipping, so you really have to maneuver them in there, and then sometimes you get this one in there, and then you're using a mallet to pound that one in, and then this one pops back up. So it definitely is a little bit of a challenge, but I promise it's possible, and it's super easy. And then if you move them, like let's say if we decide to move, I'll just deassemble it, take it to the new house, put it back together. I think that's the safest way because I feel like carrying this up and down stairs, it might potentially, some of the things may pop off because without the weight on it or without it being stable, there may be some flex in the metal. But this one is really good, guys. This metal is very strong. I did bend one because I was putting it together and I kind of fell and I stepped on it and I bent it a little bit, but it did bend back just fine. It was actually this one. So you can't even tell, but super sturdy. It does not move. It also comes with these little plastic caps over the rough edges so it protects your bags. And I do want to be clear that the idea for a shelf like this came from Meredith from Living Luxe with Meredith. She has an absolutely amazing accessory studio, and hers is absolutely stunning. It's a ginormous room with so many beautiful goodies. And she uses, I'm sure they're bigger than this because her space is larger, but she uses the same exact rack system. So I kind of took this from her, and that's why I thought this was great. So though this isn't as long as what I had before. It's taller. I have one additional whole shelf of storage, and it's deeper. There's just so much more space here. And like I said, if you think, David, it's already almost full and you still gonna buy bags, if I reposition these, I can condense this down and probably have 2 full empty shelves, if not more. So let me know if there's any questions on these. Like I said, they also come in different sizes. I wanted the 18-inch deep one, and if I recall, this was the only size it came in. They do have shorter ones. They have ones that aren't as deep. They have so many options. So I will link them below at the Menards store. If you don't have a Menards near you, I'll try to find some from some other locations, but the only ones I can speak to, of course, are the ones I have. Well, I feel like this video was a disaster, so if it was, I definitely apologize, and I thank you for watching. So my audio is all sorts of crazy here, so I want to thank you again for watching, and I'm also going to, at the end of this, throw up the total of what this room costs me in order to outfit. Again, some of these prices may be a little skewed because I had a lot of the items already in my home that weren't being used, like the shelves, the desk, the office chair, all of those things. So I don't expect everyone to be able to have these things just lying around their house or in a storage room, but I will share what I spent. Again, this total doesn't include everything because some things I would have already purchased. Like something I didn't mention is the light fixture. I was going to replace it anyway because the lighting in this house was horrid, so I'm not counting that. Maybe a few other odds and ends that I purchased because I would have purchased them already. But the total will be here at the end.